60 seconds to comply.
I think you'd better do what he says, Mr. Kenny.
You have 60 seconds to comply. This is minute 23.
Part man.
Part machine. All pod. This minute begins with Clarence cocking his gun and ends with Murphy being rushed to hospital. And we are once again joined by Niall Mc Gowan of BatMinute.
Oh, you mean robo-cocking his gun? Or just...
Robo-cocking his gun, exactly.
23 minutes and that joke hasn't turned up. I feel ashamed at myself.
We just didn't really have an opportunity. Oh no, there was one opportunity. And I squandered it. Squandered!
This minute, though, gets into a big debate. We had it in Batman Returns, and I think the same applies here, is that there was a divide amongst the guests and myself, basically, where people believed when Selina Kyle was thrown out that window, she actually died, and the cats resurrected her. And I was like, no, she just got really, really injured, and she's traumatic. She has a psychotic break. She's dead as a person, as Selina Kyle, but she never stopped breathing, kind of thing. But a lot of people are like, no, she literally died. And with this minute, too, I've always been slightly confused. Does Murphy actually die and they literally resurrect him?
Yeah.
Or is it just like he's so close to death and they managed to just keep his brain activity going to make him RoboCop?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it because... So I'm a big fan of Frankenstein. And I think what's interesting about how, I guess, this trope has evolved over time is that Frankenstein's monster... Mary Shelley wasn't interested in who the creature was before he was resurrected. And, I mean, he's an assemblage of different body parts.
Before he put on the mask.
No one cared who he was before he put on the mask. She basically treated the creature as an entirely new being. Whereas the film adaptation, Kenneth Branagh, kind of hints at who he was and he kind of has memories. So I think we've seen a little bit of this trend towards we need a little bit more of a realistic explanation, whereas RoboCop kind of sits somewhere in the middle. It's science fiction, it explains a lot of the stuff, but this particular thing, the whole genesis of RoboCop, did he literally die? Are they working with a corpse here for the RoboCop project, or have they healed him? Have they repaired a broken body? With the bullet going through the head, I'm kind of leaning towards the Frankenstein scenario.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a one particular context clue, which I don't think is in, unfortunately, with our brackets of minutes with our guest. But in the original script, there's actually a scene where the helicopter... helicopter. I thought they had a different name for it, because sometimes they have weird names and stuff. But the medical helicopter turns up, grabs Murphy, and a paramedic actually has line here says, Jesus, I think this guy's still alive. I think in the context of this movie, Murphy's still alive up until the point where the doctors literally say, we're calling it. He's gone. His memory, he's slowly dying out. That's the point where he's medically dead. But of course, they still need a good brain to put into the robot man suit. So he is technically dead. He's also officially dead. But the brain survived. So how much is that line do you want to cross?
That's the thing, yeah, because I think if I literally brought someone back from the dead, like literally, like you think Dick Jones, or not Dick Jones, but like Bob Morton would be more like, I am God. Like I have literally brought a man back. I resurrected someone. But it seems to be more, they're so tied up in bureaucracy, it's more like, yes, the product we've created rather than the fact that we have literally conquered death.
I would love to see Bob Morton doing that.
He's a corporate stooge. Of course he thinks he's God.
Yeah, Bob Morton as Herbert West reanimator.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
I love it.
Oh, but if you had a Bob Morton-esque character played by Jeffrey Combs in the remake, maybe I would say maybe the will salvage it. Look at how many good cast members they had though already. I don't think even Jeffrey Combs could have saved that thing.
And I love that man, but
needs more Jeffrey Combs and Bruce Campbell.
Everything does, frankly.
True. You know, that's why all the Spider-Man movies have sucked except after number 3 is because there's not been any Bruce Campbell in them.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yes, including Homecoming and all. Oh, everyone loves those, and Into the Spider-Verse.
Every MCU movie with Spider-Man officially terrible because it has no Bruce Campbell.
Squandered opportunity.
That's the hope now, though. you've got this multiverse of madness business coming up, though, and it's like Bruce Campbell. He's got to
Yes.
show up in it. They've gotten Tobey Maguire
Mysterio,
back.
Bruce Campbell.
There's no excuse for Sam Raimi not to put Bruce Campbell in that film. So it's like, you got to do it, Sam.
And Ted Raimi.
So, and Ted Raimi, too, yeah.
Everybody is
By all
ready.
means, they already got friggin' Jay Jonah back, like in the last movie. So it's like, well, go right ahead.
Glorious.
Like, let the floodgates open.
What do you think of Lewis's reaction to Murphy's body here? Because I just feel like it's kind of... I feel like she's acting, you know? And I don't know if it's just because there's a long shot on her face. It's just, oh no.
I think there's a slight amount of like, I've only just known this dude, but I feel bad, but not. Yeah, I think that whole thing of like maybe the survivor's guilt and all that type of stuff. But if they'd have been hamming it over the top, I don't think it would have worked.
I'm thinking maybe if she was playing it a bit more like a stoic police officer would have, where it's just like, well, shit, we've lost another one, you know, that just kind of, it's another day at the office. I know a podcaster, he was a coroner, and it's very much like that, where it's just, you see dead bodies all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew this guy. It's just, it's work, basically.
Yeah, there's a like a professional, like cognitive, what we call
Distance.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing, but I don't know. I think the tonality is right. They might have tried some other takes. We will probably never find out. So,
So Nancy Allen is actually the daughter of a police lieutenant. So I wonder if she actually talked to her father about his experiences, if that worked into her performance in any way.
So in the original script, we do have some dialogue where she just goes, Murphy. Okay, there's some more, but that's literally a line of dialogue. Murphy, ...
So many different takes. Murphy or Murphy. It's like yeah, do one of
Sitcom
all.
versions, hands on the hips.
But here's the funny thing. She goes, so she's talking on a comic. She says, officer down, repeat, officer down, central. I need medevac code 3. My partner's been shot. Dispatcher, you are medevac priority. Help is on the way. Calm down, patrolman. And Lewis responds, calm down, asshole. Get me a medevac now, or you're going to need one. Which is the badass Lewis we all know and love.
Yeah, actually, I would have preferred that.
Yeah.
Straight to business, not taking any shit. Yeah.
Let me just double check what the novel says.
That was the thing of, from recently rewatching RoboCop 2, and I guess you guys will cover this extensively next year. But like the real kick in the teeth for me was the fact that like the police are on strike against OCP, and Lewis is a scab. She crosses the picket line. She is still working. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Like that devastated me.
Yeah.
Because like I like this character so much to find out that like the OCP canceled the pensions, but Lewis is still working. It's like I can understand RoboCop's still working because he's a robot, and they've programmed him to go into work.
He's also owned by OCP.
But it feels like no, Lewis should be the one leading the picketers, and she should be at crisis with Murphy because she's like, we've gone through so much together. But
Yeah, I know. That puts them in conflict with each other.
your humanity has been compromised so much that you are still going in and doing the service that the OCP is draining your human counterparts of their livelihoods and their futures and stuff. That was the thing that really is like, what? I cannot believe that you've done this. But you guys, again, you'll talk about that next year.
Yeah, I think that's just the contextual thing of like RoboCop and Lewis being the best of cops. They're not the ones that are going to pike out. They're going to do the job, going to do their duty. So that's just Hollywood bullshit.
Yeah, again, that's old right winger Frank Miller been like, there's justice to be enacted. So who cares about your rights? Go ahead and you should be out there shooting people in the goddamn face every day. It's like, okay,
shooting everyone in the face for justice.
Exactly. That seems to be the weirdly enough. I was more abhorred by the violence towards criminals in RoboCop 2 than in this one. Because in this one, the Boddicker guy's like, yeah, go get him. Like these guys are
yeah.
And the people in RoboCop 2 are also evil, but like the fact that he's shooting everybody, every single criminal, no matter who it is, seems to get like the harshest treatment. It's like, I don't know if I've...
But you also had like a kiddies baseball team. I assume they're baseballs. I don't know sports. They have kiddies baseball teams robbing a video store or an electronics store. It's just like, this movie's fucked up.
Yeah. Although weirdly, to be fair, the one character I didn't mind seeing dying was that kid. The kid who was part of the gang. I was like, oh yeah, kill him.
The slick back boy.
Well, shit. That's exactly what I was hoping to spare you from.
what's his face from Star Trek? We didn't have a Star Trek drop last episode. Oh, combo breaker.
No, I think I think we would if it does make it into the episode. We're talking about therapists, and then we're mentioning and that TNG was kind of in that trope of, but it's maybe.
If you want a Star Trek drop, okay, here's the thing I've always pondered. Okay, you've seen like the Star Trek Into Darkness, which is the bullshit remake of Wrath of Khan, basically, and Peter Weller's in that. And I always wondered if it was because there's a guy, the Khan's right-hand man in Wrath of Khan looks so much like Peter Weller, if it was a subconscious thing where J.J. Abrams was like, get me a guy who looks like that. Or maybe he was like, Peter Weller was in Wrath of Khan, right? And they were like, no, he wasn't. No. And then it was too late. They don't like, we got the guy from the original coming for the remake. And it's like, Peter Weller wasn't in the original, J.J. It's like, but there's a guy who looks like identical to him.
Thing is, J.J. knows nothing about Star Trek, so I can believe that.
By vague description only.
It's like I saw a picture of a guy, and I was 98% certain that's Peter Weller. And it's like it was not. It was a completely different man. But too late. Peter's already signed on the dotted line, so too bad. But should also say actually in Batman connections here as well. Peter Weller, of course, did the voice of Batman in the Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did a good job. Yeah.
Speaking of Frank Miller for friggin' RoboCop 2, actually. So there you go. Like everything's connected right there. And we'll note that both Ray Wise and Kurtwood Smith have provided the voice of Commissioner Gordon in the past. So
wow.
Ray Wise does them in
about those two.
Yeah, the really dreadful Killing Joke movie that everyone hated, and rightfully so.
I did not touch that with a 10-foot barge pole.
Yeah, but
no.
And I think is it Beware the Batman? I think that Kurtwood Smith does Beware the Batman. He's Commissioner Gordon in that short-lived animated series.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was one of the ones from a couple of years ago, wasn't it? With like the crazy ass clown, psychotic, straitjacketed Joker or something like that.
Oh no, that's the Batman from the early 2000s. That one's not too bad.
Yeah, that's actually I loved it as a kid, and then all these old men on the internet were telling me that I was a stupid kid for enjoying it, and now I watched it again and go, actually, this actually still slaps, guys.
Stop liking things.
I see. Okay, not to go on too much of a tangent here, but being a '90s kid, I am definitely victim to that. Where, you don't like the right version of Star Wars. You don't like the right version of Star Trek. You don't like the right version of just go die. Just fuck off. I don't care. I'm having fun with my stuff. Go away. I don't like the right version of Alien. Oh, that's the main one. Obviously, doing the Prometheus and Alien Covenant. Lots of guys just telling me I'm focusing on the wrong Alien. Don't care.
At the time, I think I didn't like it because I had grown up on Batman the Animated Series, and it was so soon after that I was like, why is it all different now? Why have you changed this? I didn't like it then, but now that there's distance, I can go back like, that was a really interesting version of the Joker you guys did. You actually did. This actually isn't a bad show at all.
Different and experimental.
I think I was too harsh on it originally, but
we can all agree the best animated version of Spider-Man is from the 1980s. Spider-Man and his amazing friends with Firestar and Iceman and the little dog. I unironically love that, and I know it's terrible, but I love it.
Yeah.
One of the reviews of the RoboCop novelization I read did specify the book ends on a very nice note where in that scrapyard they go to.
Yes.
Murphy finds a dog and he adopts the dog, and it's like that's a nice.
That was in the original script.
Really? Oh wow!
Why does RoboCop not have a dog in the movie?
Yeah, I was going to bring this up when we got to the later minutes.
Oh, you can cut this out then if you don't want to step on.
No, I don't.
Anyone's notes.
Okay. I don't care. I don't care. But speaking of novelization, I just want to read this part out loud. This is just after the Medivac conversation. Before she calls the dispatch an asshole. Murphy smiled from within. He was wrong about Lewis. She was strong. A survivor. So what if she was a woman? Most men would be puking their guts out right now, and there she was, taking charge. He wanted to hug her, but he only had one arm.
That is something.
Yeah.
I'll give him that.
That's great.
Some of this stuff is really great. Some of it is like, whoa!
I really wish that was dialogue in the movie now. I want to hug you, but I only have one eye. My Peter Weller is part Peter Weller, part Tim Curry for some reason.
I like it. I dig it. I knew what you were doing.
It's so weird him voicing Batman though, because he does come in and it's just like the whole time you're like, it's RoboCop. What are you doing, man? It's like,
I did like the Dark Knight Rises cartoon, but yeah, part of me just there going, man, why is RoboCop here all the time?
because shows up. He's big. Yes, I'm Bruce Wayne, a multi-billionaire philanthropist. And then like 2 seconds later, he's like, yes, I'm Batman. It's like, you're both RoboCop. Like, what? I can't. Not only are you doing the same voice for both characters, but your voice is so distinctively Peter Weller. It's crazy.
Yeah, I wish it had been Kevin Conroy, like just him getting to do that kind of gritty Frank Miller-esque bullshit and like, listening in that voice of his. And it's just, Kevin Conroy.
Well, I mean, he voiced all the Arkham games, so how much Kevin Conroy do you want?
All of it.
All of it.
I think though, everyone literally wants every major Batman text to be done by Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill at some point. It's like, as long as you get those two guys to cover it eventually.
Yeah, like Troy Baker has voiced both, and his Batman and his Joker are just impressions of Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, because we've so firmly established what these characters should sound like. But that being said, I am so impressed that in Batman Brave and the Bold or Harley Quinn, they went totally different directions, and I can very easily, when I'm reading the comics, I can, depending on the tone of those comics, I can easily slip into those voices as well. I think those can still work.
What I love about Diedrich Bader's performance is that he's clearly channeling Kevin Conroy, and he's also channeling a bit of Adam West as well. So it's just that thing of
very
like,
much so.
Oh, it's so good. I love him at Harley Quinn. That's so good.
Harley Quinn's just like, I think it's finally getting traction with people. People are probably going, oh, now that's landed on HBO Max in America. People are like, oh, this Harley Quinn show is pretty good. It's like, it's been good for 2 years, guys. Like, just keep up the momentum, please.
Yeah, that's the proper spiritual successor to Batman the Animated Series, more so than anything else. It's not giving us the same, but it's giving us something that it hits the nostalgia feels, but it's also relevant to us as adults. And frankly, I'm so glad that we have the best version of Clayface.
And the best version of Bane. Bar none.
Oh my god, yes, Bane.
Coffee is my reckoning. I want that cup.
I need that mug. Yes, I need that mug. I mean, I've got a RoboCop mug, so I guess, I'm contractually obliged to use it.
The great thing about Harley Quinn is it does riff on the 90s Batman task, but it does it like the Bruce Timm style and everything, but it does it in its own unique twist and way, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's just even episodes though where like you're sitting watching, friggin' like on like Dr. Demento, the Buster Blues character. And like him sitting talking to Cy Borgman, and you're like, this is Buster Bluth talking to George Costanza in a Batman show. What reality have I entered? Like, if you told me like 20 years ago that was a possibility, I'd be like, get the hell out of here. There's no way you'd ever make a show then.
Yeah.
But they did it. You're living in that time.
How the hell did we get Kite Man and we like him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Well, yeah, Kite Man, Clayface, all of them.
I'm so glad too that it's been out and it's got itself firmly established before we had to cover Poison Ivy for the show too, because like, we get to talk about Poison Ivy now as well. There's a whole friggin' arc with her that's terrific.
Oh, she's great.
We have
She's
to
so
talk
good.
about it on BatMinute.
So in the audio commentary, there was actually a Murphy puppet for the final blow through the head scene with Clarence Brodicker's gun.
It's real good.
In the director's cut, not the version we're looking at, but in the director's cut, the shot starts on Murphy face forward, dollies around in a circle or semicircle, and when it finally finishes on the back of Murphy's head, that's when the swab goes off and you just see like brain matter in a hole leaving Murphy's head. To accommodate this, they had to build that whole scene on a platform about 5 foot off the ground, so all the puppeteers could manipulate the puppet in the future thing. So yeah, all that stuff was shot on a platform.
Oh,
interesting.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. They also talk in the commentary that they had to cut down a lot of the blood and gore because people were, I think we talked about this in the previous minute, but people were leaving the test screenings out of disgust, and it's just a little bit too hardcore for them.
I think it's the whole the violence of this movie has got that thing with the famous note that Scorsese got for Taxi Driver, where at the end they're like, it's too gruesome. you have to like the blood looks too realistic, and then they had to go in and color correct it so the blood didn't look as real.
Yeah.
And it somehow kind of made it even more disturbing because it looked so strange. I think in this, it's like, yeah, the violence is so unrealistically over the top. It's almost so cartoony, which makes it more. You think it would tone it down, but I think it makes it even more dramatic to see, like, oh, this is like unrealistically insane violence. Like,
Well, this is 10 minutes after we saw Kenny like get butchered in the OCP, and that was more cartoonic. That people were laughing at that. But this one, I think, because we're also sympathizing with Murphy, like, it's horrific. It's like genuinely horrific.
Yeah, it walks that line because it is this violation. We're seeing the hero go down this very drawn out, painful way.
Yeah.
But it's also done in this almost anime, ultra violence kind of way.
It is.
I think that in our RoboCop remake version of Kenny's death, though, is my favorite scene because they just have like it goes on for about like 3 more minutes where Ed 2 and I just continue shooting him, and they're like got like people up in ladders going like, yeah, turn it to the right, like trying to fix the thing to turn it off, and then they've got like, someone going like, yes, tech support, like people over the chair like breaking it over the top of the Ed 2 and 9. It just turns out hits the guy in the face, and then it goes back to shooting Kenny again. It was really, really terrific.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you definitely got to watch it, Simon. Get on that. When I think about violence in film, I often think about Clockwork Orange, the Singing in the Rain scene especially.
Oh, that's brutal.
And I think, there's not a lot of blood in that scene, and it's played in this comedic way, but the comedy of it makes it even more humiliating, dehumanizing. It's upsetting because it's so realistic in terms of, and I've talked about this in previous minutes, filming something as it feels versus filming something as it actually looks. And I believe that scene is filmed as it would actually look. You know, we're just this passive onlooker seeing these people being degraded like that. And I was talking to Duncan Shields from Chronologically Speaking, and he said he saw that scene as a little kid, way younger than he should have.
Wow.
But he actually found it funny. He as a kid, he couldn't read that deeper level to it. He just went, this is so goofy the way it's filmed, and he's singing, and it's so silly. And I think RoboCop is kind of doing the same thing, but in the inverse, where it's so cartoonish, it's so over the top, but in a way you still feel so bad watching it.
Well, we also get to see in the, let's face it, it's mostly in the next minute, is the actual trauma that Murphy goes through as the crash team are trying to save his life.
I think that's probably more traumatic.
Yeah, I'll bring this up in the next minute, but yeah, actually, no, I'll bring it up next minute. I won't talk about it now because I'll have nothing to say for the next minute. In the audio commentary, the last bit of commentary is that Ed does talk about that this is actually a real crash team. They tried to act this stuff out, and it was like, this ain't working. They got a real crash team that basically said, do what you do, we'll film it. Oh, I have one note. So there's some beige guys in... There's some beige guys. There's some guys in beige flight suits coming off the helicopter, reeling Murphy out. They've got OCP copper badges on their uniforms.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I've never noticed that before. The fun of a minute-by-minute deep dive.
There you go. That's why we do this.
Yeah.
Also, Joe has the line, "Good night, sweet prince." I wonder if that's the first time that phrase has been used in this kind of context. I have no research for this. I literally only took back this note and then forgot to research it.
Oh, it's Hamlet.
Yeah, so it's... Well, that's the thing. Can you make any comparisons between RoboCop and Hamlet then? Because it's like, well, put it in for a reason. But then that might be one of those ones you go...
Like, in the sense of, like, the Monday internet thing of, like, someone dies and it's, a laugh and "Good night, sweet prince," or a fake death and they say "Good night, sweet prince." I know it has historical connotations, but I mean the modern day connotation, where it's just kind of mocking.
It was someone making a reference to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, alright. No, I'm pretty sure it's been done.
The Shakes of Spears probably meant it as mocking too, because, he was an edgelord. So, shall we jump on to gaslighting? Oh, we got to, man. I'm sorry, but this is the rules that we made, and I'm enforcing. And yeah. I think I made this, and yeah, okay, let's do this.
Alex, how do you feel?
I feel fine, Dr. Norton.
You made the mistake of making me your co-host.
Yeah.
I am the monster you create.
So, Niall, I actually originally called the gaslighting my penance for suggesting this.
But this minute though, again, it's just like this has what I call the Shining syndrome, where the problem with Stanley Kubrick's version of The Shining is like before they even get to the hotel, it's very apparent. It seems as if Jack Nicholson already despises his family, so it's not so much the hotel that changes him in his personality. So you're just like, well, this guy always hated these people, so the hotel barely did anything to him, really.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's supposed to track this way, but as soon as Murphy walks into his house here, I had the vibe like their marriage was in trouble. I know that he's like, oh, his partner's been injured and stuff, but it really feels like there's a distance between these two already. Like,
Yeah, it was coldness, a belligerence. Oh, I also have to say, this minute begins with Murphy kissing his son on the head and ends with him sipping a beer. So yeah, but yeah, he just doesn't connect. I mean, no one connects with anyone in this movie. There's no humanity. There's nothing. It's almost like everyone is a cyborg.
I think this leads perfectly into my note, which does no personality run in this family?
No, it's just more the fact too, because like, no offense to Abby Cornish, but like the fact that she is just a basic blonde white woman does not. It makes her character even more like when I first saw her, I was like, is that Brie Larson? Oh no, is that Amber Heard? No, it's someone else who just looked a bit like both of them.
I cut this out of a previous minute because I thought, no, this makes me look really bad, because I was just like, oh my god, that's Brie Larson, and Courtney just like, no, that's Abby Cornish. I was like, oh shit, I better cut this out because that's just a bad thing. But I'm so glad that I could not tell a difference and someone else couldn't either.
From the side, she totally looks like Brie Larson. So, but then the fact that it's just really the fact that she has no character. She just looks she looks very bland and normal, and it's just like, yeah, there's just nothing to cling on to.
Her whole career is mostly that, other than, I guess, 30 Days of Night. But yeah, most of her... And hey, and now I'm thinking, was that actually her in 30 Days of Night? It could be another blonde woman. Who knows? But I'm pretty sure you had shit apart in that.
Brie Larson's breakout role.
It's like, no, that was Sienna Miller. I was like, oh, god damn it.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Quick, we need to get more brown-haired white guys in here to really bland this out.
Yes.
But I would not, like, no offense to Abby Cornish, but there is a blandness about her where it's like, I can imagine her in the street, people going like, I know you from something. Are you the girl from Room? And she'd be like, no, that's not me. And then like, yeah, you're in that one thing, aren't you? Like, oh, you play the oh, I know you from some. Like, she's never made her mark to me, is the thing. So it's like,
I loved you in Captain Marvel.
But and the fact that she's paired up with Joel Kinnaman, it's just like, this is like, there's nothing here. This is horrible.
Oh, bland squared. That's the thing, is there are some actors where you can just let them do their thing and they've just exude personality. I'm blanking on a name. Friggin' SNL, Ghostbusters, blonde woman.
Kate McKinnon.
Kate McKinnon. Imagine her in this role. She's not just going to be a blank slate. Like, there's going to be some personality always coming through.
Well, this is where it gets to be a production issue. Like, how much did the director deliberately tone down performances? Because even like, we've even mentioned, like, Sam Jackson is just pretty bland in this film, and for someone as big a personality as Samuel Jackson,
they let him raise his voice. That's about it.
I mean, Keaton just seems like the kind of guy who's just like, fuck that shit, I'm going to do what I want. Yeah, even Gary Oldman, a guy who we know can fucking act, and he's just, toast is probably the best term you can use.
This movie is the physical embodiment of a library, especially like a new inner city library. It's, nice, clean, shiny, lots of glass and wood paneling everywhere. But you have to be quiet, and everyone's just like at this level.
It's just a library empty of any books.
Yeah.
How is that for a twisted analogy?
But just everything too. Again, with there's one note for Murphy's wife in this whole movie. It's just like, if you could just sort of speak in a whisper and seem like you're always on the verge of tears. I was like, no matter what the situation, in this scene she's doing it.
And cry some more.
Later on, she's confronting people from OCP. She's doing it. Even when a happy ending, if they had any dialogue between Murphy and her after the climax of the movie, which I don't think they do, because they're like, let's just get out of here. It was like, she probably still seemed like, are you still distraught about something? Because it seems like your whole character is distraught from the word go about something.
Considering that one of the major plot arcs is Murphy Murphy rediscovering his humanity, sorry, but Murphy's connection with his family being the emotional through line from when he's turned into the robot man to when he loses his emotion and then gains it back 5 minutes fucking later. It's always about the family thing. And it was just like, but they're just...
It consistently...
Another thing I associate RoboCop with like fun, gory, crazy times, and also a distinct harshness. So I was waiting, like when I thought this was an interesting idea, like, oh, he starts off normal, and they take away his humanity as it goes on. It's like this is where the harshness is going to come into the movie.
Yeah,
and he has that one scene with Michael K. Williams, and it's just like, oh yeah, now they've robbed Murphy of his humanity, but it is literally like one scene later, and he's back to normal. And it's like, God, you had a thing, you had an idea that was good.
Yes,
you just took it away.
It consistently works against itself. It puts something down and goes, "Hey, isn't this a cool idea?" And you, yeah, actually, come on, let's see where this. Oh, sorry, I dropped it off the table. Oh,
Do you
okay.
know what it should have been? Remember that scene in RoboCop 2 when Ellen Murphy comes to the station to confront RoboCop for stalking her, and he just does that thing where he leans in and goes, "They made this to honor him." That creepy way he does that. It's so cool. It's so funny and terrible. I love it.
The brief moments we get of the original RoboCop and his family are actually far more effective and tragic, I find.
Yeah. The fact that it's so... We only see glimpses of the before life, and they are important to Murphy, and it's just so defanged in this movie. It's just... Oh, Jesus. I've used that term several times now, just defang.
Yeah. The only moment that we get of perhaps some humor or charm is where Murphy's taking his kid to bed and he goes, "Oh, kiss your mum goodnight," and he's like, "Oh, too slow, boy," and then he leans in for a kiss, and yeah, that's cute, and that, we need more of that. Just something to make us actually feel anything for anybody. It's screenwriting 101.
I think the whole note was like, it's one of these things where I feel they had the idea at some point, like, yeah, we never really saw much of Murphy's family life in that. If we're doing a remake, you have to include the family as an arc. And then when they got there, like, well, what do you do with them? Oh.
Yes.
It's like I remember a couple of years back there was a guy who wanted to remake The Fly. Like the studio head was talking about.
I heard about that.
You have to remake The Fly, and because he's never flown. You see the Fly movie, it's like, yeah, they've got a movie called The Fly. Why doesn't he sprout wings and fly? It's like, that was the one note they had for the remake. That was enough to warrant making the thing. And they never did, thankfully. But like that feels like a thing. They were like early days, like, this is a thing we need to put into RoboCop. More of Murphy's
might have happened? They might have seen that prequel to The Thing called The Thing.
Yeah.
Set on like the Norwegian base, and like everyone just went, "Why does this exist?"
It's like, I'm up for any Mary Elizabeth Winstead in anything, but
I
like,
do love
this
me
is
some
too
you.
far. Like, it's
Yeah.
really like you're misusing your good casting here. Like, why you could make anything with her in it, and I'd watch it. But a Thing prequel that's just called The Thing, and it's essentially the same story.
Why is Mary Elizabeth Winstead not a bigger star? She is the best thing in whatever she's in. It is a real shame.
I think she's on the way now. I think like a lot of talk after Birds of Prey and stuff, and she did that Gemini Man. I think she's and Fargo and stuff. I think she's on the uprise. I'm hoping now we'll reach the age.
Yeah, because after Scott Pilgrim, I thought, oh yeah. Oh, yeah, my other note was that the kid is watching a hockey game on a screen that has no back. Like, you can see through it from the back, and I hate that. You see it a lot in science fiction movies, and I fucking hate it. There's no privacy. There's no logic. I just...
Maybe that's the point in this dystopian future. Is like, yeah, there's no privacy. We can see exactly what you're watching at all times.
I'm going to be the opposite viewer there. I actually like those kind of props because I think it's...
You're a trash man.
Yeah, I know. I'm a trash person. Yeah, I know. I'm also the physical media person. I know. No. Yep. I mean, I like it as a visual aid for a scene in a movie. Like, it's a nice little bit of visual sci-fi poppiness. Like, it's like, this is futuristic. It's a good shorthand. But yeah, in reality, it would be the worst fucking thing to view imaginable because you're going to see everything behind it.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Again, too, like, why isn't it TJ Laser? Like, why can't you inject that little bit of humor into it? Like, at least have him watch T.J. Hooker and have it be like, oh, like that's what T.J. is. But it's like, no, it's just a hockey game.
Well, that's actually a really good point. Is every little detail in the original RoboCop is propelling the story forward.
Exactly.
How does this hockey game propel the story forward? It's not. It's not really doing anything other than giving Murphy something to say to his son. That's about it. It's not, TJ later was so crucial to you understanding who this man was as a cop and as a father, and it keeps coming back. I mean, it's how Lewis realizes that RoboCop is Murphy.
It's like 20 seconds of a segment and it tells you more than 20 minutes of this movie.
Oh my god, yeah. I was thinking with the family, I think I mentioned this before, it's an idea from previous guest, Luke Milton, the idea of playing the family stuff for comedy. It could be really humanizing that he comes home as RoboCop and his son thinks it's the coolest thing ever, and they sit down and try to have dinner. It's like, well, actually don't eat, I have this sort of weird baby paste stuff, and he tries to sit on the chair and the chair breaks, and then later on in the bedroom they're like, so what have you got going on? I mean, I know you got the hand, so I guess we can use the hand, and you got a mouth, so
that's the spin-off sitcom just called Aw Murphy. It's just every episode Alan appears and goes, Murphy, and that crosses her arms and stuff.
Stellar callback.
Hey, we're kind of getting that with WandaVision at the moment, so
Yeah, exactly.
it could work.
Superheroes and sitcoms.
She's a modern suburban housewife. He's a mechanical murdering machine. They both live in the suburbs. Oh, Murphy.
It's like, we're actually going to do it. It's a remake of Small Wonder, but Joel Kinnaman is playing the robot girl.
Yes.
Joel Kinnaman is an 8-year-old robot or something.
Here's a reference you might get. I don't think Courtney's going to get Metal Mickey. I'm not the only one that's old enough to know Metal Mickey. That was a British show that was pretty much Small Wonder, but not a girl robot, but an actual robot.
I don't think Metal Mickey's a thing I've heard loads, so I didn't realize it was a specific thing to something. So I have to go read.
Oh right, yeah, you already told me about Metal Mickey and I forgot. Yeah, this son of a bitch.
Oh, the theme tune's amazingly campy in 80s, and I love it. It's terrible, and I love it.
You know what? I feel like Britain did the 80s harder than America.
Yeah, they did.
Sometimes.
That's the other thing too, guys. Getting up later today, record Time Bandits Minute, and it's just watching the clip. It's just like, my God, this is Britain in the 80s. Like, it's so just like...
What minute have you got?
That's literally the time, like the first scene of the Time Bandits showing up, coming out of the wardrobe. It's like...
Oh, that's very 80s, yeah. I mean, the kid's bedroom and just, yes.
It's just so, like, yeah, it's just got so many shades of Doctor Who about it, but like the proper Tom Baker Doctor Who. Like, it's got a real British sci-fi of the 70s and 80s vibe about it. It's like, it's great. That's what it's supposed to be.
US was making things like Miami Vice, and then you look at the UK and they were making things like The Young Ones. So, Punk and Anarchy... Okay, that tells you a lot to do with Thatcheritism versus Reaganism as well, but yeah.
I think it's also too, it's like America's willing to spend money on making TV over here. It's just like, you get 2 sets and £45 a week to pay everyone. That's it.
Yes. And it needs to go back to that. I'm kidding. I do miss those kind of weird and crazy 80s sitcoms that the UK used to do. Like, just give us some weird stuff. Like, oh god, the last British sitcom I really loved was like Spaced. That was brilliant.
I never got into Spaced. I don't know what I think, because everyone kept recommending it to me so hard. Is that like, you're gonna love this show? So when I watched it, I was like, it had too high expectations of it. But the thing is, I love everything else that Edgar Wright's done, and I think everyone involved. I think I love all these people, but why isn't the show working for me? It's a bizarre blip in my cultural lexicon. I'm like, I never got into space. I don't know why. I can't do it.
Well, it's more a anyway, that's another discussion for another time, another podcast. Space by minute.
I'm currently looking forward to the Channel 4 over here. I've got lined up. They made it as a comedy short originally, and it's now been made into a full-on show. It's actually got one of the people from the second season of Umbrella Academy in it. A show called Lady Parts, and it's about a Muslim all-female punk band. And there's like a little 15-minute short to pitch it, and it's like, yeah, I'll watch that as a sitcom. That seems great. So that's my hope now for British comedy. It's like, that thing's going to land eventually, and I'm hoping it gives everything a real shot in the arm, because British sitcoms at the minute are atrocious. Like there's been a real swamp recently because it's all Mrs. Brown's Boys and things like this, and it's like this is
could not get into that.
yeah, it's just like longing for the days of friggin' like Black Books and things like that. It's like it used to be so good, but for the last couple of years, it's just been a real friggin' swamp of.
Too bad Rick Mayall's gone because I would love to see a revival of Bottom.
Yes, yeah. I've actually rewatched a lot of Bottom quite recently, and it's like still holds up because it's just such common denominator humor, like lowest common denominator humor.
Yeah, it's so lowbrow, but it's so stupid. I love it.
So, shall we conclude this minute?
Yeah. Once again, thank you. You've been an astounding guest, Niall, and please pitch your shit.
Oh yeah, so I work for Dick Jones. Dick Jones! He's an underground OCP! OCP runs the cops! And a little thing. One time, I watched RoboCop on Netflix years back. I specifically was looking forward to seeing that scene because I love that scene so much. And in the most bizarre anomaly, our internet went down because streaming it on Netflix. And then just as that scene was starting, I turned it back on, and in the interim 15 minutes, Netflix had removed RoboCop. It was I couldn't believe it happened. It was just like, this is so
wow.
It must have been literally like, over the course of it went from like one day to like it happened over a midnight period or something. But I came back and I was just like, where's the movie? What they took it took it off mid viewing and like
that is RoboCop blocked.
Yeah, RoboCop blocked. It still hurts to this day. I just couldn't believe it. Getting that one bit. I was blue balls by Netflix. It was astounding, but. And they also did it too when the Titanic minute was airing. Because Titanic's too long. I was like, I'll watch a minute of it a day and listen to the guy's show. And then midway through the season, Netflix took off Titanic. And it's like, I guess I gotta get a copy of Titanic now. God damn it! And I had to sit and watch the whole thing in one freaking go.
I guess it sunk without a trace.
So, you can find me at traviandesigns.com, TRAVAAN, patreon.com/traviandesigns, where you can get Legacy Minute, Covenant Minute, well, Covenant Minute's just everywhere now, and now Minute 2049, covering Blade Runner 2049. Go to YouTube, just look up my name, and there's my detransition story, and, Instagram, same name. Also, I've got my other Instagram, The Greatest Regeneration, which covers the 1980s in chronological order. That's everything. That's everything I think.
Darwheeling Stanwheel. Oh fuck! It's getting late, and we still got one more fucking minute. So check
one more. We can do
it. Dare do this one. I keep forgetting because it's just like, it's like noon here. So I'm like, I got all the time in the world, but then realize you guys it's like in the middle of the night.
Oh, it's only 8 o'clock, but I don't know. It's getting close to 9. I'm happy to keep going. It's just that thing of now I'm getting tired. The silliness is coming out. Speaking of silliness, how's that for? You can follow me at, you can find me, or you can follow me. Do whatever you want at Fanboy. No, that's the old one. Fandom Crossing. I have YouTubes and all the other stuff, but more importantly, please check us and everything else out in Simplecast. Oh yeah. Kung Fu Lens in a minute. Have to talk about that. Simplecast, Spotify, Google, Apples, and this is also on YouTube, so go check this shit out. And until next time...
Robocock.